right, it's a few minutes to 4 p.m. Thank you for joining us on News Now, where we tell you all the stories that are making headlines right now. And it starts now with the highlights. The highlights. President William Ruto reaffirmed Kenya's strong relations with Uganda by signing 8 memorandums of understanding during Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's state visit. Also, Nakada is calling on the government to ban online alcohol sales, discount promos, and the use of celebrities, influencers, and athletes in alcohol ads. And teachers under GOtv are protesting a surprise deduction by their union, just as they awaited a long-promised salary raise under the new collective bargaining agreement. Welcome once again to this live broadcast. My name is Hibaq. To start us off, President William Ruto and Uganda's Yoweri Museveni have signed 8 MOUs to deepen bilateral ties. The agreements cover trade, mining, agriculture, transport, tourism, and urban development. Ruto emphasized removing non-tariff barriers and fast-tracking the Naivasha railway extension to Central Africa. A cross-border urban upgrade in Busia is set to launch with infrastructure expansion through 2028. The leaders also agreed on a joint mineral exploitation and blue economy training. They aim to strengthen food security and promote eco-tourism through cultural exchange. Now, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers GOtv leadership in Nakuru County has come out to strongly oppose new deductions imposed on teachers in July's salary. Now, speaking this afternoon, the GOtv officials claimed they were not consulted regarding the new deductions. Now, they have also been applied across all teachers, and they are now demanding clarification from the GOtv National Board.
Yesterday, teachers were expecting to smile all the way to the bank, so that because of the CBA increment. Unfortunately, as we are talking right now, there is a new deduction called GOtv Swal on the pay slips of teachers. The union deduction is supposed to be 1.8% of the basic pay. This extra payment that is on the extra deduction that is on the teachers' pay slips right now is illegal. It is not supposed to be there. So we are here to say that teachers are stressed, they are perturbed, they are confused, they cannot even think, they cannot breathe.
Telling the national office that we want that deduction to be stopped with immediate effect and the teachers to be refunded back their money. We are crying as teachers. If you look at the teachers' payslip, it has really been deducted. It is very slim. Matter we have the SHA, we have the SHIF, we have the what do we call? We have the swallow of GOtv. Now we don't even understand.
The teachers are stressed, the teachers are distressed. The teachers, they cannot settle because the people who are supposed to protect their pay slips, now because that thing is reading swal GOtv, it is like GOtv has taken the money from its members and yet they went and bargained for the CBA. So it makes no sense when we see that there is a deduction which is reading swal GOtv.
All right. Now, the clamor for intergenerational dialogue gathered pace today after youth rallied to Viable Alternative Republic VAR endorsed intergenerational dialogue while calling for a citizen youth-led dialogue that will capture the problems facing the Kenyan youth. The VAR Forum said millennials and Gen Zs currently bearing the brunt of economic injustice, police brutality, abductions, and unemployment will only be heard through a citizen youth-led process. The group has now warned politicians not to hijack the process.
VAR also affirms its strong support for the intergenerational national conversation. We believe Kenya needs to talk, honestly. We'll show up not as guests, but as architects of a new nation, of a new nationhood. To the government, to the political elite, to every stakeholder, we are declaring that this is our moment to engage. We demand 50% youth representation because we are the 70% of the population and we carry 100% of the consequences of failed leadership. We demand economic justice. We cannot continue to be a nation where young people graduate into poverty.
Tuko na njia mbili. Njia ya kwanza ni dialogue. Na hiyo dialogue ni sisi tunakaa kwa hiyo dialogue. Sio wanasiasa, sio makanisa, sio kina nani. Vijana tunakaa kwa hiyo dialogue sababu hawa watu wamemaliza muda wao. Ni wakati wetu vijana. Ya pili, sindikana dialogue, barabara.
Now, the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, has today launched a bold and far-reaching national policy aimed at curbing the escalating crisis of alcohol and substance abuse across Kenya. NACADA has raised the legal drinking age from 18 years to 21 years, and the sale of alcohol in public spaces, sport facilities, medical facilities, supermarkets, and residential premises, among other areas. As part of the sweeping new measures outlined in the national policy to combat alcohol, drug, and substance abuse. The policy, developed through extensive stakeholder engagement, marks a significant shift towards prevention, regulation, and rehabilitation.
So, in terms of housekeeping, a bit of your press.
As we launch this policy, I urge everyone present and indeed all Kenyans to embrace its tenets and become active champions in this vital campaign. Let us leverage the power of our communities, our cultural values, and our collective will to protect our present and secure.
I will be engaging the Asset Recovery Agency to see how best we can also make it more punitive, first of all, for those who are engaged in these acts, especially because they get very lenient fines. So maybe the best way is to take away the lorry, the car, the equipment, their businesses, their assets that they are built over time. It's important for asset recovery to appreciate that the law on the proceeds of crimes and anti-money laundering law is not only focusing on corruption. It also focuses on all crimes, all proceeds of all crime.
Elsewhere, Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku has welcomed the Cabinet's decision to transfer Amboseli National Park, which is home to 70% of Kenya's elephants, to the county government, calling it a major win for locals. The move follows months of disputes with conservation groups and legal experts questioning its constitutionality, and the Kenya Wildlife Services resisting the transition. Under the new arrangement, KWS will retain conservation oversight, while the county manages daily operations. Locals have offered 1 million acres to expand the park and help ease human-wildlife conflict.
Uamuzi wa cabinet jana ni jambo ya sisi kumshukuru rais na kusema hii ni ahadi ambayo imetimizwa. Tunajua kwa siasa kumekuwa na mazungumzo mengi na watu kusema Mheshimiwa Rais hatimizi ahadi zake. Tunataka kusema Rais Ruto ametimiza ahadi yake kwa jamii yetu.
We want to promise as the Assembly, we give our commitment that we shall walk this journey as we receive it. And if there will be something that is needed in terms of legislation, we are ready as a county assembly to give our input to ensure that as we receive this property, as we receive Amboseli, we shall ensure that we receive it in the best way, and we shall legislate to ensure that we are able to hold this child that we've been given and make even better use of it.
Sisi kama viongozi, Rais alisema hii tukiwa Narok, akarudi kuzungumza tukiwa Samburu, na leo hii kufikia jana
tuliona ilipita katika baraza la mawaziri. Sasa tunangojea ili kuweza kupokea na kuifanyia kazi.
Now, President William Ruto has signed into law 2 landmark bills, the Conflict of Interest Act 2023 and the Social Protection Act 2025, in a bold move to strengthen public accountability and support vulnerable Kenyans. Speaking at State House, Nairobi, President Ruto described the new Conflict of Interest law as a major step in the right direction and the fight against corruption. The law, now replacing the Public Officer Ethics Act, imposes strict regulations to stop public servants from abusing power for personal gain and empowers the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. To enforce it, at the same time, the Social Protection Act creates a unified right-based welfare system as it guarantees non-contributory support for vulnerable Kenyans across all life stages and will be implemented jointly by the national and county governments to enhance dignity, equity, and resilience.
This is a very momentous occasion for Kenya, that after the passage of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Law several years ago, today we are stepping up the fight against corruption by passing the Conflict of Interest Law that now gives power to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption to take charge of matters, wealth declaration for all public officers, now not just in the executive, but also in the legislature and in the judiciary, to also make it illegal for officers serving in positions, whether they are in the judiciary, the legislature, or in the executive, to abuse the authority they have in their offices and to undermine the rule of law.
A call has been made to stakeholders and community at large to observe caution as mpox cases continue to be reported, as one case was reported in Taita Taveta, where a resident of Mombasa, Utuad Voi, was detected to have contacted mpox. This is according to Albanas Kioko, the county entomologist, was addressing the media during the media's stakeholder mpox awareness conference.
Ile anjana tulipata Voi ambayo alikuwa ni mtu alikuwa ametravel from Mombasa, ni resident wa Mombasa, na akiwa resident wa Mombasa pia alitupatia historia kuwa alitangamana na mtu mwenye alikuwa na upele wa mpox.
Kwa hivyo nafikiri ni muhimu sana kwa wanahabari waweze kuhamasisha jamii, sababu tunasema prevention starts at home, in the household, mahali kuna hiyo conduct ya mtu mmoja na mwingine, kutoka kulala pamoja, kuvaa nguo na kushare vitu katika boma. So community kiweza kupata habari na kuzuia kule katika community level, basi tutaweza kuzuia hizo magonjwa kuendelea kurupuka.
In line with the presidential directive to plant 15 billion trees over the next 10 years with the goal of increasing the country's forest cover to 10% of the total landmass, Kenya Pipeline Company has been undertaking tree planting initiatives in partnership with various stakeholders such as the Kenya Forest Services, National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, schools and communities along the pipeline's pathway. As a way of conserving the environment, the Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC, has adopted 50 hectares of degraded mangrove forest land at Jomvu Creek, Mombasa. In the past 3 years, the company has also planted 452,820 mangrove trees in the adopted area in liaison with Bidii Creek Conservation Group, among other community forest users. This is in an effort to improve the coastal ecosystem in Jomvu Creek. The KPC Foundation has provided over 550,000 mangrove seedlings in the area to restore the forest.
Ushirikiana na mama wenzangu wa Jomvu community, tunafanya kazi pamoja, tunashirikiana kufanya mazingira yetu yawe mazuri. Mkoko ndio mkoko asili, ndio ambao unashikililia bahari. Samaki wengi wanaokuwa hapo baharini, chakula chao kingi kinapitia kutokana na hii miti ya baharini ambayo ni mikoko. Mikoko wenyewe tunapanda kuzuia mmomonyoko wetu wa ardhi. Maeneo huko juu ni kando ya bahari. Mvua ikinyesha mara nyingi sana wewe unachukua mchanga unakuja baharini. Kama hatungepanda hii mikoko ingekuwa bahari yetu tayari ishafunikwa na mchanga, lakini michanga inapokuwa inateremka chini inazuiliwa na hii miti ambayo iko karibu.
Let's get sporty. The Kenya women's volleyball team Malkia Strikers are still intensifying their training at the Nyayo National Stadium Gymnasium in Nairobi ahead of the 2025 World Championships in Thailand. The technical bench, led by head coach Geoffrey Omondi, has 20 players in the camp, and the final list of 14 will be named before the team heads to Vietnam for a series of friendly matches scheduled for August 15th to 20th. Before the championship kicks off in August 22nd to September 7th across various cities in Thailand. And that concludes our bulletin this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining News Now. Be sure that these stories and many more will be upgraded and improved in our latter bulletins. My name is Hibaq Saeed. Have yourselves a very lovely afternoon.